first story is titled, Am I the A-hole for choosing myself over my stepson? Title sounds bad, but wait till I explain, then you decide if I'm being selfish here. So, I, 39 male, been with my wife for 3 years. I have one biological daughter aged 2, and I also have a stepson aged 19. Everything is fine, except for some issues, but nothing huge. My stepson is in college and he's struggling with transportation. He does not live with us. He rents with a friend. He has issues with moving around and he claims public transportation is slow, /costly, and not always available where he's staying. His mom always wants to help with this issue, but the money isn't enough. My stepson visited us several times to complain about this. Yesterday, he visited and talked about needing a car ASAP and complained that he can't work without a car. My wife had a conversation with me later on and suggested that I pull out $8,000 to $9,000 from my savings and buy her son a car. Now, I need to mention that I've been saving money for a partial knee replacement after I had an auto accident in 2017. My wife understood how much of a struggle this is and never mentioned the surgery money until now. So I said I'm sorry, but I can't. She looked dumbfounded, like she didn't expect this response, saying, I've never really done anything for my stepson, and it's just $8,000. The surgery can be done in May instead of March. She reminded me that children come first, implying I was choosing myself and my health over my stepson. But my knee is damaged, I can tell you. The pain is freaking terrible. If it was up to me, I'd rather sit at home and rest, but I gotta go make a living. I have to. It's my duty as a father to provide for my kid, not a capable adult. Look, I understand he's struggling and I'm not trying to be mean, but that's not my problem. My wife said I was being negative, not acting like a parent, and asked if my opinion would have changed if that was my biological son. So, I'm expected to spend money on a car paid with money I worked so hard to get, despite the pain I'm feeling, just so my stepson's problem is fixed. Hallelujah! I got mad and I left the room. Then she brought it up again, then again. I asked a friend about what I should do, and he said, don't ruin your relationship with your stepson. But we're fine. I don't really understand what they meant by that. The issue's still here, and I'm not sure because the surgery takes $27,000, and they say $8,000 won't make a difference. But I have to save up more money. Am I the a-hole here or are they? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. 1. That is your money that you saved up for a knee replacement. 2. Why not a cheap $1,000 car? They both appear to have an expensive taste. Edit. Mommy should let him know how the freaking world works, and not doing every financial thing for his son, and expect the money be taken from a legend that needs surgery. I got mad and I left the room. Then she brought it up again, then again. I asked a friend about what I should do and he said, don't ruin your relationship with your stepson. They have no consideration to Opie's quality of life. They rather allow an able-bodied young man to spend $8,000 on a car using Opie's retirement, rather than Opie fix his knee which is causing him immense pain. Why can't he save up and buy a $3,000 used car himself? If I was Opie, I would ruin any relationship in order to fix my knee. That pain is no joke. What happens when the knee gives out and Opie can no longer work? Who is going to take care of Opie's daughter? The wife? If she is selfish now, I am scared to imagine how she will be when the time comes for someone to step up for the daughter. Not the a-hole. Your stepson is a young, healthy adult and has multiple other options besides demanding several $1,000s from you that is supposed to go towards your surgery. And your wife is being incredibly unreasonable and dismissive of the pain you are in. Having to juggle public transportation is part of growing up at 19. I didn't have a car until I started working. Not the a-hole. He can buy a bike or walk. I was just about to say he should get a bike too. I biked to work the first 2 years of working. Didn't matter the weather. I would layer up and wear different clothes if it rained. Edit to answer some of your questions. A. Why can't he work and save up to buy a car? He says he can't get a job without getting a car first. B. How is he paying rent / school expenses when he doesn't work? Well, mommy sends money every month. C. Where's his dad in all of this? One-word answer. Bailed. D. Why does he need an $8,000 car? I don't freaking know. And to answer my own question of why I have to pay that much for a knee surgery. Because America, F yeah. Also, commenter number 130 is right. I do need a better friend. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for letting loose on my mom because she believes she didn't parentify me? I'm a 31 male with one sister, 20. Our mom made it pretty clear that she didn't really want us. It was my dad who mainly did everything for me. My dad tried to get her to do things occasionally, but she'd respond with, "That's what you are for. Husbands are supposed to cater to the needs of their wife." Or if my dad called her to check if I had lunch when he wasn't there, I overheard her say, "The little turd can get food for himself." Not much changed when my sister was born. It was mainly my dad who had to do everything. On my 16th birthday, my dad left this horrible freaking world because of a car accident. And that's when my life started to become hell. My mom became even more of a deadbeat, and it was mainly me who looked after my sister and did all the stuff that I did around the house. Cleaning, cooking, putting my sister to bed, etc. Present day, I don't keep a lot of contact, which is why I was surprised when she got a hold of me this morning. Apparently, she was kicked out of my uncle's after she kept causing problems. He refused to clarify what exactly it was, and she asked me if I would do my sonly duties and let me live with her. I flat out told her to screw off, and that she never did her motherly duties and I had to basically be my sister's father, and I said she basically parentified me. I love my sister, but doing the things my mother was supposed to do for her was really downplay on my life. If it's cruel to feel this way, let me know. She says that it's not parentification, because I'm a guy, and older brothers have that duty of looking after their baby siblings. That very sentence is what caused me to shut down and reboot with rage. I screamed and let out every obscenity I could think of at her, and I said I failed to understand how my father married her in the first place. She just cried and said, "Me and my sister are selfish brats, so should be grateful that she brought us into this world." I told her to go screw herself and hung up. I called my sister. Turns out mom called her as well, but my sister just hung up. I feel like I should have done the mature thing like my sister did, and a bunch of my friends said that the things I said were horrible. She's my mother, and I have to let it go eventually. My aunt told me that my mom lost the right to call me her son a long time ago. Other family members never really liked my mom, so they're backing me on this. But I still feel like a jerk. So go all out with the roasting if I'm wrong. Am I the a-hole? Not an a-hole. I'm a mother. As a mother, I want you to understand that your mother thinks being a mother is some kind of given placement, like a royal. It's not a given placement at all, but an earned placement. She didn't earn anything. Go no contact. And people who tell other people it's family, you'll have to forgive them someday, have no concept of what a bad or toxic family member is. Subjecting yourself to someone because they share DNA is not required. I bet letting loose on her felt good. Another thing that may help is to write it all down. You can send it to her if you want, or never send it. Sometimes it's just therapeutic to put it in print. Love your sister. Have a good life. I want to overhear Opie say, "The little turd can get housing for herself. Not an a-hole." Not an a-hole. And you are not an a-hole for yelling and saying all those things to her either. She needed to hear those words. Your mother really should have never had children. And it sounds like she never actually wanted children, which isn't yours or your sister's fault. All your family said that you weren't an a-hole because they know how your mother is. Why did Opie's friends say that he was cruel? He just said the truth. And after so long and so much entitlement, it's no wonder he yelled. That very sentence is what caused me to shut down and reboot with rage. I have never felt a sentence describe something so succinctly. Opie, you are definitely not an a-hole. Honestly agree. That sentence puts into words how I felt when ended up going no contact with my own mother. 3 days of her screaming down the phone at me, plus texting battles in between calls, because she didn't like that I had a different plan for my wedding than she originally discussed with me. Even then, I gave her a second chance and laid down about 3 ground rules for going out to lunch with me. She broke all 3 in the first 5 minutes, literally. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for walking out with my girls when my mother-in-law excluded them from family photo album? I'm 36, mother of 2 girls, 9 and 5. I met my now fiancé, 38, 2.5 years ago. He's a good man, treats my girls well and loves them. Future mother-in-law is a generous lady, truth be told. His family are respectful and helpful. We visit them a lot. After we got engaged, I pretty much considered this my extended family. However, my mother-in-law tends to do things that either intentionally or unintentionally hurt my feelings. For example, when there's a family dinner at a restaurant, we're not invited. On Christmas, my girls didn't receive anything from her, while other kids in the family got gifts and cards. Also, all the kids in the family get a trip once a month, but my girls never participate. Mother-in-law excuses were, I forgot. This week, my future mother-in-law was doing family photo album and was gathering family pictures from everyone. Sister-in-law and her kids, / brother-in-law and his kids, and so on. She called and asked if I could send her some pictures. I thought that was nice of her. I sent them pretty much after my call with her ended. We were invited to her house. The entire family was there to look at the photo album because it was complete. We took turns to look at it. And when it was mine and my girl's turn, I was stunned. Turned out, she picked the pictures that had just me and her son. Not my girls. Although we took a ton of pictures, the 4 of us. My girls were excited, wanting to see the album, then asked why their pictures weren't there. I didn't even want to think about how they'd feel. I was caught off guard. Otherwise, I would have let them look at the album. I asked mother-in-law why she excluded my girls, and she didn't even reply. She just ignored me. My fiancé stared at me. I felt awful. I got up, took my girls, and walked out immediately. Everyone was confused. My fiancé followed us, then we left. At home, he told me that I really shouldn't have walked out before dinner and should have just ignored this whole thing because who cares about a stupid photo album? I told him it's a symbol of family. The girls felt left out when all the kids' pictures were there except for the girls, although I sent her pictures of 4 of us as a family. He said his mom didn't mean it and promised that this will change once we get married and said he'll get everyone in line. So I shouldn't even consider this a problem. And that my girls are the light of his life and that's the only thing that matters. And that I was overreacting over a photo album. Mother-in-law called and was upset, saying me walking out like that was disrespectful to the entire family. When I told her about what she did, she bluntly said, I don't want to lie to people. Those girls don't relate to me in any way. She said she loves them / treat them well, will host their birthdays if I want, but she won't call them family. I argued with her over this, and I hung up on her since she didn't think she did anything wrong. Was I in the wrong? Did I overreact? Oh boy, not today, Hall. Pro tip, don't marry this man. Their behavior now won't change once you're married. Nothing will be different. Your girls will be excluded like this by his family forever. If the girls are the light of his life, he wouldn't let his family treat them this way, and would have nipped it in the bud the first time they were excluded with gifts. Everyone can spend their money as they see fit, but for someone that should be treating them as grandchildren, should be more fair. Or else, she doesn't get to be in their lives. If they get married, guaranteed she regrets it, unless he has an epiphany before the wedding. Not today, Hall, but your fiancé will not have your back, and the treatment your daughters are getting now will only continue. I was in your daughter's shoes when I was a kid and my dad was getting remarried. And thankfully, we were accepted into the family events, photos, etc. by the time my dad was engaged to my stepmom. I agree. Getting married shouldn't be the time he gets everyone in line. Now is the time for that. If he can't stick up for you and your girls being called family now, it's not going to change later. He should be fighting for his future stepkids to be accepted into his family because he is their family. I don't understand how people can't view stepkids as family. What horribly close-minded they are. Not today, Hall. The real issue here is your fiancé's lack of a spine to stand up to his mother. That will probably never change, so you're walking into this coming marriage with your eyes wide open. If you marry this man, this will be your constant reality. Your daughters will continue to get ignored, and you will be pushed out of events. Cut your losses and flee this toxic relationship. There's an old saying over on r/justnomother-in-law. It's easier to dump a mama's boy than to divorce a mama's boy, and both of those are easier than trying to change a mama's boy. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my stepsister and her family stay with me in the short term? To make a long story short, my mom got married a year and a half ago. Her husband has a daughter a year older than me who is married with kids. She and her husband were moving to my city for his job in November and had a place lined up. Turns out, they were doing a private thing, kind of like Airbnb, and were conned out of the rent for the place. They called her dad to ask for help, and he suggested that they should ask me. She and I have no communication, so he gave her my number and he called me first to give me a heads up. I said no when he asked. Then she called and asked, and I said no again. To say they weren't happy was an understatement. My mom got involved and said a couple of weeks wouldn't have hurt. Her husband was the one who did the most communication with me about the whole thing. He said I was turning my back on family. How could I leave my own sister and nieces on the street, etc.? I rolled my eyes, which she couldn't see, and I told him I did not feel comfortable opening my home at this time. The truth is, I do not see this girl or her family anything to me. We are both adults. We met twice in our lives. We have never talked outside of those 2 times. They are strangers to me, not family. And my mom's husband is not family either. He is just my mom's husband. I only had stepsister in the title because my mom's husband's daughter is just going to make the title long as heck. My fiancé was glad I didn't want them to stay too, but he would have been fine with it if I had felt differently. I need to know if I'm the a-hole though. My mom isn't pissed, but she's upset I turned them down. And she's who I care about most in this. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You've met twice. She's a stranger. Opie and the stepsister met twice. She's a stranger. And there's a freaking pandemic going on. Bringing a whole family unit into Opie's home is such a bad idea all around. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You don't know this person at all. Why doesn't she move in with her dad? Or just find an apartment in town? It can't take more than a week to find a place. My mom and her husband are nowhere near the city, so they were not a good option. I think he wanted to find them something that would cost them little to nothing, aka staying with someone. Why didn't he just pay for a hotel for his own kids instead of using you as a scapegoat? I think he wanted to not spend money if he could. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.